Hi, it's Janice here again, and today I'm doing another of the topics that somebody's mentioned that they would like some help on, and I always know if somebody wants it, somebody else actually needs some tips on this as well. That's one of the reasons that I cover these tips I ask you these questions at the beginning of when you join the Success Attitude Movement group, because if there is a video I've done, I can refer you to it, or if there's something that I haven't covered, I can do a quick video on it and help you with some ideas. So today's topic is self-acceptance. Self-acceptance. So what we're talking about is that when we go through life, a lot of people have opinions about what we should do, where we should go, where we should live. And for all of us, what we've got to do is make a decision about whether those are going to work for us or not. So many years ago, I discovered that if I did what everyone wanted, I'd be unhappy because I was suiting that person, that person, that person. It's not possible. It's your life, and you've got to learn to actually be able to have the skills to be empowered to be able to create that for yourself. And that's certainly what I teach in the program. That's why I call it Positively You, because I had to learn this before for myself, before I could teach it to others. So what you've got to do is think, now, who am I really? Who am I really? And that's a big question. Somewhere in your life it'll come up, and and who am I and what am I here to do? Because with all the beliefs that others have got and what's happening in the media, it's so easy to get distracted. So for me, it wasn't until I went on my journey when I found I had low self-esteem, and that was when I was doing some work for how to become a good parent. So I wasn't even on the track of looking at for me, but I stumbled upon it. And so once I knew what the problem was, I could accept that that's who I was. That's what the underlying factor that kept my soul unhappy and sad inside. And so now I knew I had accepted that. Now I had to do something about it. And so for you, it might be the same. If yours is self-esteem, if you go through my pages, you'll find the quiz there somewhere on YouTube page. But it's then accepting that this is where you are. This is either you're a negative thinker, or you've got low self-esteem, or you're angry about something, or you haven't let the past go, or you're in grief or despair, and all those sorts of things, so that you can start to then say, okay, so this is where I am right now. I'm going to do something about it. So your job is to actually then make a decision to go and learn the solutions, because that's what self-acceptance is about. It's about self-responsibility. So remember, you've got your own unique fingerprint. Nobody's got your fingerprint. Nobody has lived your life born at the same time with the siblings, the parents, the sort of life that you had lived at school and everything you experienced. And all of those are happening to you in your life and into everyone else's life, because everyone has different lessons to learn on this life, this time on earth. And so so your job is to embrace yours and not worry about everybody else's. So you've got free will to do that. You don't have to do that, but that's why we are guided, and then we've got free will to make the decision. Certainly for me, when I got my big vision and my biggest message in the year 2000, it took me 4 years to commit to it, because it's pretty scary. Yeah, it's very scary. But I had free will. I didn't have to do it, but I knew if I didn't do it, I would feel like a failure for the rest of my life. So when we're looking at self-acceptance, it's where are you and what have you got to do? So it's like, you've got this self-acceptance, you've got a bad relationship, something's happening at work, you need to go and find your answers. So I remember years ago sitting at a conference with my brother next to me, and we did the personalities, and I found that everybody loves that the most in all the courses I've done for the last 20 odd years since I've known about it. But I understood that, I learned there that I was right-brained, creative, emotional-based thinking, and he was the opposite. So therefore, even just understanding that about myself, when I sort of, don't compare to other people, but I can see other people, obviously, and I've got them in my life. I understand this is who I am, and then I've got to make a decision. So that's another thing, is the more you learn about yourself, the easier it's going to be. So it's understanding that no one's lived your life and no one's had the same experience. So accepting what you've got to do is generally sometimes a tricky decision, because you're going from here that's scary, or you're not feeling okay, and you want to be over here where you want to be confident and okay. So you've actually got a bridge to cover. So you've got to decide where you're going to find those answers, and most certainly on this page you'll find a lot of them anyway to get you started. And to go further, you've got to come on board with some of the other stuff that I do on the inside. So self-acceptance is learning to live to your strengths, and you get that. Also, you learn from that about your personalities, because that makes life easier. And then your weaknesses, which are things like the things that you find really challenging. For me, for my personality, and me, I don't like maths. I don't like maths, but I have to do it for my own accounts. But I would never get a job as an accountant or accountant assistant. So that was my weakness. So I'd rather get a job talking to people. So that's living and accepting my strengths and my weaknesses and living to that. So you've got that hurdle to jump over to be able to go from fear to faith and unempowered to empowered. And because if you don't, you're going to stay in this comfortable, uncomfortable place all your life. You are too scared to dip your toes out of your comfort zone. But you must dip your toes out if you want to get over to be confident and be more accepting and learning about yourself. So your gifts and talents are there for you to embrace. And those are the things that once you've got the confidence, those are the things that you bring to the world, and those are the things that are going to give you the most happiness and success for the rest of your life. Not doing that, not accepting who you are and not living to your potential, you're always going to be over here in this, stuck in your comfort zone with fear, negative feelings, negative thoughts, and that's when you're sort of, you're not living the best life that you can. And so the choice is yours, what you want to do. But self-accepting is say, this is where I am, this is where I want to be, and I've got a bridge, I've got a hurdle to cross, and going on that journey. So if you want some help with that, give me a call. Let's do a success strategy call. We talk about the 3 things, what your dream is, what your big challenge is, and I give you some tips to share. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit of information about self-acceptance.